Hi, so I'm live finally. Sorry for the delay. Um, Apparently, I don't have the go live option on my profile, and we were testing on my husband's last night. So I had to reinstall the Facebook app on my phone. So bear with me. I'm a little flummoxed now with the delay, and I'm really excited to talk to you all, and I hope I didn't lose any of you. So we will go ahead and start the chat. Feel free to ask any questions. This should be interesting. It's really fun, all this technology. I was actually at an event this afternoon. IDEX is a big employer here in Maine, and they have, it was the first time they did this. It was a geek kind of event. They call it Geeks, Geexx, and it's more like a pop culture, employee engagement kind of program. And they brought in authors. They also brought in, like the dance off video games, and it was really cool. I mean, that's awesome that they're doing that for their employees. But I sold a couple books, and that was fun. Oh, thanks, Sue. Thanks for letting me know. On top of it, I don't have great cell signal at the house. So I'm totally pantsing it tonight. So my mom, I stopped over at my parents' house after work, and my mom's like, I can't download the book. So I finally was able to help her download Fate, Love, and Loyalty onto her iPad. And then my brother's girlfriend was like, I can only see the first 2 chapters, so I had to help her. It's just not been a good day for technology. Apparently Mercury's in retrograde. I don't know if any of you follow that, but it can mess with communication and tech. And apparently it's rearing its ugly head on me. How many of you are going to Once Upon a Time this weekend? I know Christy's going to be there, and there's going to be some other Havenwood Falls authors. It's kind of creepy to get these things like Randy Cooley Wilson is watching. Oh, hi, Sue. Yes. Well, there will be a continuation of Paisley, who was mentioned in Fate, Love, and Loyalty. She's going to have her Havenwood Falls High story. And I'm kind of working out the details right now, but it's, the toxic romance. You have that one friend who, as soon as she finds a man, she like ditches her friends. And all the friends can see that this person's bad for their friend, but she doesn't listen to them. So Paisley's going to kind of fall in that situation. She's a Seelie Fae, and the guy that she falls for is unseelie. So I'm excited to work on a young adult. I've written a couple of short stories that are young adults, so this will be fun to write something longer. I hear you, Liz. I wish I could go too. And Liz, thank you for editing. You did an incredible job, and it's one of the, I hate editing and revising myself. I just would rather write. I hope I'm not bouncing around too much. Trying to keep still. So yeah, it was the weirdest thing. I, tested out last night to make sure that the camera worked and everything, and we were on my husband's profile, and go live option was right there. I was like, perfect, this is great. So had everything ready to go. Scarf down dinner after work, and logged all in, was ready to go, and I'm like, oh, I don't have a go live button. So for whatever reason, I don't have a go live button. Maybe Facebook thinks I abuse it. I don't know. Oh, Liz, you've totally lost picture and sound. Is it better? Hi, Sue. Yeah, I've been following Christy for 5 years now, too. I love her Soul Saver series. And I remember the day that she liked my author page, and I, like, squealed or squeed. It's like, Christy Cook liked my author page. Oh, good. Thanks, Sue. I'm glad you guys are keeping me updated as far as what you can see and hear. It's kind of a... Like I said, flying by the seat of my pants here. I posted in the group the other day, hi Randy. We have a separate group where all the authors kind of collaborate and work on bouncing ideas off of each other and making sure we're not we're not overlapping or anything like that. So I've been working on character development for the Havenwood Falls High story, which is coming out in March. And I felt like such a... I told them, I'm like, I feel like a pervy cougar because the the picture I found and the character that I'm developing for the guy, his name is Cole Silver. He's like so dreamy, and I'm like, oh, this is wrong because he's 18. But hey, it's fiction, so I'm just writing fiction. It's all good. Yes, so I agree. She's an amazing author. And Christy has been amazing through. I don't know how she keeps us all organized. I imagine it's like herding cats, trying to get all the authors straight. And we all have, different deadlines, and it's a huge universe. It's Havenwood Falls, when it first started out, was, just an idea. And then it's just taken off. And I think we all want to move there. If Haven Falls really existed, I think we'd all be packing our bags and heading out. It's been a great experience, just working with all the other authors too. And I hope you're excited for the pipeline. I mean, it's full, so I hope you're excited for the other books that are coming out. I know Covetedness is coming out next. I think that's releasing in September, but I'm not sure. But that's another new adult. I'm going to try to set my phone down so it's less bouncy. I don't know if it'll work. Let's see. I'm surprised I don't have a cat howling outside the door. Oh, thank you, Liz. Yeah, September 22nd. So I knew it was in September. Looking forward to reading that. Oh, cat person, fess up. How many cats do you have? I have 2. They're Ozzy and Harriet, brother and sister. They're gingers. Harriet's long hair. Ozzy's the one who I have to keep them out of the office. Otherwise, they'll be climbing all over the keyboard and, shutting off my computer, clawing at my legs. So I keep them out of the office. And Ozzy howls, and he headbutts the door. But he's preoccupied right now, so. Otherwise, you'd hear a commotion. I think I was like abusing animals or something, but He's just a mama's boy. Oh, we have a dog, Bullwinkle, and he's a total love, and the cats just own him. Which is funny because animals are a huge part of my life, but I don't think, in looking back at any of my books, none of my characters have a pet. So I might have to incorporate an animal soon. And I just got, from a book cover designer, I don't know if any of you know Harper Jameson, she also writes, but she did a cover design for book 2 of the Ghost Stories trilogy. The title is Havoc, and I'll be releasing that in September. And it's a continuation. In book 1 of the Ghost Stories trilogy is called End of the Road, and it's a story about this community of ghosts, and they're all stuck on this one section of Highway I-17 in Arizona, and they all come from different time periods and different backgrounds, and they've all died by different circumstances. Well, they figure out how to harness energy, and they form a community, and they actually help assist in rescues. Then there's a sheriff's deputy, Elena Hernandez. She works for Yavapai County, and she can see them for whatever reason, but she's helping to fight a forest fire, and she gets impacted by the smoke, and the ghosts actually rescue her. So Elena is actually kind of at a really low point in her life, and by the ghost saving her, she helps them. But it's really like learning to live through the dead, and it's a really cool story. And towards the end of the Road, I introduce a psychic medium who helps Elena with her abilities and helps with these ghosts. And Adele Gray is the psychic medium, and she has her story in Havoc, and she teams up with a demonologist. So in Havoc, these ghosts are appearing to Adele, and they're all victims. They're the ghosts of murder victims, like mass murders. And it turns out that there's a evil spirit that's possessing people and causing these heinous crimes all over the country. So she teams up with Finn Rafferty, who's a demonologist, and there's a whole bunch of personal connection to this spirit, and they're running all over the country. And obviously this isn't a job for normal law enforcement because they're dealing with a spirit. So so that's Havoc. Of course, there's a little bit of romance, and the one different angle is Adele Gray has an identical twin sister named Amelia, and Amelia actually committed suicide when she was in college, and has stayed behind as a ghost, and she had the same abilities as her sister, and so she's able to go to the other side and cross over and come back and forth, and so they're kind of like that's like her sidekick, but what sets her apart from other psychic mediums. Randy Cooley Wilson asks, what is your favorite book or character that you've written? My very first series is the New Mafia trilogy, and it's organized crime, but it's new adult romantic suspense. And this character, he kind of popped up out of the blue. Like, he was not in the original plans, and he's with the LA mob, where the New Mafia trilogy focuses on the Philly mob. But his name is Victor Drago, and he's just a cool dude. Like, he's a cool cat, and I really enjoyed writing him. And I actually wrote a novella for an anthology that was kind of touched on him, and I think I'm going to have a spin-off series that's going to be all Victor. I have a lot of book ideas, just not the time to write them all. I'm sure some other authors can relate. They have just a book file of ideas. And then I have book 3 for the Ghost Stories trilogy that's kind of loosely outlined right now. There's a place in Massachusetts that's called the Bridgewater Triangle, and there's just weird stuff that happens in this within this triangle. I think the center is Taunton, Mass. But Adele and Finn are going to be, their next adventure is going to be in the Bridgewater Triangle when weird stuff happens, and they're actually helping one of their colleagues who goes missing. They're going to try to find him. Liz asks, what is your writing schedule like? Do you have certain times of day that are more productive? I try to write it. I usually write at night. I'm a night owl. I work during the day full time, so sometimes on my lunch break I'll sketch out ideas, because depends on the day, characters will start chattering away in my head, and I'll take a lunch break to jot ideas down. So definitely more productive at night. I don't really have a set schedule. I just try to write a little bit every day, or if I'm not writing, do some marketing, do some research, editing. Sorry, Liz. I'm not a fan of editing. But yeah, that's usually my family is really supportive. They understand if I'm on deadline and I need to ignore them. My husband, sometimes if he sees me procrastinating on Facebook, he'll be like, "Get to work." So that's a big distraction, social media. But I get to chat with all cool people like you guys. And plus, if I'm on, I could say I'm marketing if I'm on doing stuff on Facebook. I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of like a genre jumper. Paranormal, the Havenwood Falls is really the first venture into like a true like paranormal fantasy. The Ghost Stories trilogy, it's almost like the ghosts are real. And then, the new Mafia trilogy, that was, organized crime. It's romantic suspense. So I think most of my roots are in suspense, though. I actually have a story in a horror anthology, and that's, I was with the horror writers of Maine today at IDEX selling books. Oh, Sue, do you have a playlist you listen to when writing? Yes, I'm actually on Spotify, and I have a playlist for every book, and it really helps to kind of set the tone and get me in the mood. And there's so much, there's incredible music out there, like you don't even hear on the radio. It'll just kind of pop up, and I'm like, oh. So I've really discovered a lot of new artists, and I've definitely added them to the playlist too. Oh, thanks, Shelley. I know it's hard. I wish I could write full time, but it's not realistic at this point. I do work at a newspaper, so I'm in a creative environment, and I think that helps where I'm not completely, drastically switching gears and having to make a tough transition. Liz just asked, when did you start writing? Was there something that prompted you to start? I've always written stories. My parents still have collections of like little storybooks, or little children's books that I wrote and did the illustrations for. I have a degree in journalism, and I minored in English, so that's always where my interests lied. I cannot do math, cannot do science. I'd probably be a doctor if I could. I think it would be really, I would like to be a doctor and be able to help people in that way, but my brain's just not wired. So I've always been writing, but I really started seriously writing after I had a good friend from college pass away. She was 32 years old, 5 kids. She had died from melanoma. And it really made me look at life differently. Like, I don't have all the time in the world, and this is really what I want to do. This is my passion, and that's where I really started to get committed to writing consistently and regularly. And I started a story, it's called Cancerville. I've never finished it. It's a government conspiracy about environmental contamination and cancer. The Beautiful People was an idea I got loosely based off of a nightclub I worked at in Philadelphia. And I wrote The Beautiful People in 2009 just to prove that I could write a book from beginning to end, and then I just put it away. And I was working on End of the Road, because that was another idea that came to me. Just ideas come at random, and sometimes they are short stories, sometimes they're longer. But then self-publishing really started to take off. In 2013 is when I first published The Beautiful People. And hitting the publish button was probably the most terrifying experience. So I had no expectations. I was like, hey, if I sell 10 copies, I'll be happy. And then it went on to become a bestseller in the women's crime fiction category. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. It was funny. It took a friend passing away. Like, I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 30, a thyroid cancer. And you would think that that would be the catalyst, but it was actually having, a close friend, having her light extinguished that really motivated me. So, I don't know if you've read the dedication in Fate, Love, and Loyalty, but I dedicated it to my friends Annette and Carrie, and they both passed away this year from cancer, and they fought long, hard battles, and they reminds me, like, I just need to keep pushing. I need to keep pursuing my dreams, keep pursuing my passion, and I use, that as motivation as well. Cancer sucks. It's impacted too many people. Yeah, it does. Cancer just sucks. So, yeah, that keeps the drive going. Sue, I did write a sci-fi short story. It was for this kind of like a writing prompt. It's hard. Sci-fi is definitely hard. I love watching sci-fi movies, though. And there's definitely a horror element, like Alien. We just saw, I can't remember the name of it, but it has Ryan Reynolds in it and Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's a sci-fi, and it was terrifying. Oh, thanks, Shelley. Yeah, I think, there's always that debate, like, indie author versus traditionally published, and there's some of the traditionally published authors look down at indie authors, but we work our butts off. I mean, we're doing all the marketing, we're doing the networking. It's not an easy gig. It's a lot of fun, though. I mean, I've met so many incredible readers and fellow authors and bloggers and, designers. Like, it's just an incredible community. Oh. There's supposed to be, Sue, you had a dream about the end of the earth by a meteor. There's supposed to be, like, a meteor shower this weekend, I think. The Perseids. It wouldn't surprise me if something came in from outer space and just took us out, honestly. I think there's so much out there that we don't know about. We just watched the Phoenix Forgotten, and it's about these three teenagers. It's a movie, three teenagers that went missing in Phoenix after the Phoenix lights were spotted in 1997. So I lived in Phoenix from 98 through 2006. I'm sorry, I lived in Arizona from 98 to 2006. 4 of those years were in Phoenix, and I did see something in the sky. Like, it was weird. I mean, there's these big round lights, and they didn't move. And I remember laying in bed, looking out the window, just staring up at these lights, like, what is that? So, I think there's definitely other life out there. Oh, yeah, Sue, we're watching Salvation. That's a really good show. It really makes you think. And there's the one girl she plays. She's been helping. She's with the government, and she's helping with the scientists. And I was like, why does she look so familiar? And then she was in a soap opera for years, and it's like one of the soap operas I watched when I was in high school. It was really cool to see her transitioning to mainstream. What do you guys think? Do you think Havenwood Falls would make a good TV show? I think it would. That would be awesome. Then we just move to the set. Wherever they're filming. That'll be our Havenwood Falls. So Liz just asked, was it hard to write a novella, length work, or easier than a novel? It was a little harder. I mean, I've written flash fiction, short stories, but my characters tend to have a lot to say, and they want to just take over. So having to rein them in and just wrap something up without really providing more backstory or allowing the characters to fully develop, that can be challenging. It was fun, though. I mean, it was easy to... I think I wrote it in less than a month, which sometimes a novel can take 2 years to write, depending on the schedule. Yeah, Havenwood Falls would make a great TV show. I'm a huge fan of Teen Wolf, and... Chrissy just chimed in. Her Facebook broke. Mine did, too. Tech issues. So yeah, like watching shows like Teen Wolf or The Midnight Texas, based on the Charlene Harris series, it gives me some interesting perspective on like how Havenwood Falls compares. Oh, I hear the dog outside the door. He just walked by. So Christy, I had everything all tested last night, ready to go, and then I couldn't find the Go Live button. So I had to re-download the app on my phone, and I'm pantsing it tonight. Hi, Susan. Yeah, I like Midnight Texas. I haven't read the books. I mean, I read the Sookie Stackhouse mysteries, but I hadn't read Midnight Texas. I want to have to check them out. So do you guys have any other questions, or do you want to talk about any of the characters in Fate, Love, and Loyalty? Oh, Susan just asked, what else do I enjoy watching? Game of Thrones. Huge Game of Thrones fan. I want a dragon. Watch Animal Kingdom. What else do we watch? Oh, Preacher. Oh, Liz Ferry, I'm concerned about the scones. I need to make some scones. The blueberries are in season right now. Oh, and Chrissy just asked, what are you working on besides Havenwood Falls? I'm working on the book 2 of the Ghost Stories trilogy. I just received the cover today, so I'm pretty excited. I'll be doing a cover release soon. I haven't scheduled an exact pub date for Havoc because just with beta readers and proofreaders and getting all this stuff lined up, I haven't had a really good solid schedule. But it's close. It's really close. Oh, Christy, yes, you're a Game of Thrones fan. Yes. Awesome show. So I have a bunch of other story ideas. After I finish with the Ghost Stories trilogy and, of course, the Havenwood Falls High, story for March, I'm going to probably work on the spin-off of the new Mafia trilogy, which is we're going to be in LA, and focus on Victor Drago. I don't know if I would ever write a huge book like George R.R. Martin, who wrote the Game of Thrones series. Like, those books are huge. And I also, I have some short stories that I've been submitting when calls for anthologies and stuff come up. I have a bunch of suspense and horror. That's mainly where my short stories fall. Oh, who's going to supply Havenwood Falls with scones now? Don't worry. Astor left the recipe with Willow and Paisley. So I think the scones are safe. Oh, Susan, you met George R.R. Martin? That's cool. I wonder with, being in Colorado, I thought about having them be pot scones, but I just kept traditional. So, my dad actually is the baker in the family, and my niece is going to Culinary Institute of America, and she's really good at baking. So I have some scone recipes I can pull from. Oh, Christy just asked, what signings and events will you be at? Where can we meet you? On August 24th, I'm going to be down in Salem, Mass. at Kobe Sushi Restaurant. There's a reading event called Word. It's a reading series, so I'm going to be down there reading with the Horror Writers of Maine from the Northern Frights anthology that just came out in May. October 14th, it's a Saturday, I'll be at Books in Vacation Land, which is right here in Portland. There are, I think there's like 50 authors from all over that are coming in. All indie authors. A lot of them are in the romance genre, but not specifically. So I'm really looking forward to that because it's right here in my hometown. And, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to Salem. The next, I don't really have anything lined up for 2018 as of yet. I've been kind of keeping my schedule loose. If there's another one that pops up in Philly, I'll probably go down there. And I'll be attending, not exhibiting, but I'll be attending the Talk Books event that's also, I think it used to be called the North Shore Author Signing. That's going to be in Boston in April. Christy, I'll come down and stalk everybody at Talk Books and buy books, but I don't have a table there. You're going to be at Talk Books, so I'll come stalk you. Oh, bye, Sue. Have a good dinner. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for your questions. And it's actually almost 8 o'clock, so I'll probably be wrapping up here. And I apologize for coming on late. But technology, forces were working against me. Who knows, maybe it was a fae messing around with my phone and my computer. They're little tricksters. So if there aren't any more questions, I can wrap up and catch up with you guys later. Christy, I'm like nodding as you talk. LOL, you mean you can't see me? No. That's funny. It is awkward. Like, I wasn't sure how this was going to work out, but so far so good. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful night, and thank you for hanging out. And I'm sure there'll be more activity in the book club because we're all hanging out in there. I think it's the closest connection we have without actually living in Havenwood Falls. So, you guys have a great night, and I will talk to you later. Bye.